If they running their mouth, then they looking for trouble. Ran right up in the knowledge, now they back in the huddle. See, they know we can fight, new content every week. Me and Dr. Clyde, keep on bringing the heat. Now they know that we driven, and they know we quitting. Yoshi and the winner, keep on bringing the energy. Unity, unity, unity. See, they know we ain't stopping, and they know they got problems, and they ran out of options. If they know got a problem, can't let it go unsolved. Brain based learner, Afrocentric history, we see tomorrow. Karma is karma, I say what I say, I hear underwater. Till I see I fall off, then I bring y'all up on note. I'm back up on my Clyde winners, 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 Clyde winners. Divine winters, Clyde winters, mind bender, Clyde winters. I'm Richard, ride with ya, master teacher, create masters, Clyde winters. Give respect to the elder, Clyde winters.
I've not told lies. I've not stolen food. I was not stolen. I've not fornicated with the fornicator. I've not caused anyone to weep. I have not dissembled. I have not transgressed. I have not discussed secrets. I have brought no lawsuits. I have not wronged the copyright. I have not struck kids. I have not transgressed the law. I have not been hunted. Except when I'm talking about on the tongue. I have not made extolling. I have not bragged. I have not cursed. I have not been violent. I have not confounded truth. I have not cursed against
Dr. Winter's legacy is a testament to the power of knowledge and the unyielding spirit of exploration. His impact is felt worldwide, as he shares and enlightens at conferences, symposiums, and collaborative projects. His voice is a beacon in the academic world, challenging, inspiring, and always educating. His journey reminds us that the quest for knowledge is never-ending, and its impact is timeless. Dr. Winters teaches us to challenge the narratives and to learn with an open mind. As he always says, B1 is not a group, it's a lineage. Let his story inspire everybody to pursue knowledge relentlessly and to always seek the truth. Now let us welcome in the grandfather of research, the Trill OG himself, the Honorable Dr. Clyde Winters.
Let the researcher do the research. Oh, no, no. I don't get a kick out of telling lies. Let the researcher do the research. Oh, no, no. Spent years studying the ties. Let the researcher do the research. Yeah, yeah. Black first, with strength we rise. Yeah, let the researcher do the research. Yeah, yeah. Unite in truth and kill the lies. Let the researcher do the research. I'll learn to debunk my own craft. Respect is all that I ask. Dr. Winters, I was sent here to finish my task, to become the greatest researcher, and that's who I am. Dr. Winters. Yeah. Na 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 na. Let the research. Gotta tell it lies. Let the researcher do the research. Yeah, yeah. I spent years studying the tides. Let the researcher do the research. Yeah, yeah. Black first, with strength we rise. Let the researcher do the research. Yeah, yeah. Unite in truth and kill the lies. Be one, be one, be one. Be one to win this fight. We must unite. Stand up for the righteous and let your skin shine bright. Be one, be one, be one. Be one, lessons whispered at night. Be one, be one.
You can save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Whoa! Ha, very funny, Limu. Doesn't even look like me.
It's time to play Family Feud.
Ebony, yes. You wish you could cover your husband from pits to toes in Old Spice Total Body Deodorant after what?
After doing yard work, Steve.
We have to help people to stop being musty. I don't care what you say. You might be upset about this, but we got to help people to stop being musty. It is a lot of musty people out there. And that's why I wanted you guys to hear that. Okay. Today is another day for Black History Gems. I am so excited. Yes, I am so excited. Why am I excited? I'm excited because of the fact that Eve Henderson has just made me feel so proud, so proud, so proud. Listen, family, I've been doing research on the history of Black people for over 50 years. Yes, 50 years. I've been publishing articles on this research for over 50 years. And for the first time in history, I found, in a sense, another Black human being who wants to, in a sense, try to research our history, write about our history, and teach other people about our history on a collaborative basis. You know, that it is so wonderful. It's so wonderful. You know, Curtis Penn. What up, Curtis? Thank you. You know, Curtis is so excited because Curtis, he was the first one to hit me to the Sphinx and how there was inscriptions on the Sphinx, you see. And now to have Eve trying to get people organized into a collaborative research group, this is wonderful. I just hope she can get it done. I've been trying, and I couldn't do it. But hey, you know, just because somebody else couldn't do something doesn't mean that it can't be done. And this is what makes Eve's efforts to get things started. And those of you who can find Eve Henderson's pay Cash App, send us some cash, and let's get this thing started. Because hey, we have to do this. We have to do this. I'm 74 years old. I'm on my way out. Yes. My kids don't like me to say that, and other people don't want me to say that, but I'm on my way out, I'm on my way out, And you taste this collaboration. Curtis Penn, you going back on Saturday net anytime soon? I don't know. If he calls me, we'll do this, But you know, Curtis is a very collaborative person, you know. And these are things that we need because we can't do this all by ourselves. No, we can't do this all by ourselves. We need to help each other. And when you got people that are out there trying to get things pumping, it's going to lead to great things. It's going to lead to popularity. Okay, you guys probably heard in the news recently they found under the pyramids of Egypt a gigantic, yes, a gigantic complex, temple complex under the pyramids. Yes, yes, it shows that that the pyramid was more than just a burial place. That it may have been other things going on, and maybe one day if they can get down there and enter that place, maybe there can be some inscriptions that can tell us a lot of good stuff. Because see, many of you guys don't know much of the medical field, much of the technology. If you notice, a lot of interesting stuff is made at universities like the University of London, the University of Chicago. And one of the reasons that they make all this progress is because they're able to decipher. They're able to decipher these ancient Egyptian inscriptions. And because of the fact that they're able to decipher these ancient Egyptian inscriptions, some of their decipherments they publish for the world to see. Some of them they keep and just pass it on to the scientists at their universities to make it appear that their scientists are making these new discoveries. Yes, yes. You think a lot of these new discoveries in technology have just come up, have just been made because, some European, some white guy just had an idea and he was able, in a sense, to prove it. No, a lot of their technological breakthroughs, yes, a lot of their technological breakthroughs that come from universities like the University of London or the Oriental Institute or the University of Pennsylvania, that their hospitals and all that type of stuff. These are places that have strong Egyptological research centers. And what they do is that they translate these ancient records, written by our people. Yes, they translate these ancient Egyptian, texts. And then they go ahead and then somebody come out and say, hey, this is a new way to do this, or this is a new technology. This is a new medical field in a sense. This is a new thing that we can do for heart trouble. Maybe delivering babies, all that type of stuff. It is not new. It is not new. It is not new, family. What they're doing in a sense is they're using our ancient documents. And see, this is the hidden history. Yes, Epic Eric, this is the ancient hidden history of the world, is that what was ancient is being made modern by researchers at the University of Chicago, University of London, because they're taking those Egyptian records and they're translating them, and then they're having one of their scientists, one of their doctors, one of their physicists to come out and say X, Y, Z, when really there's nothing new under the sun, you see. But again, as I said, Justice Eve, Eve, congratulations, Eve. I hope people will support you because Eve wants to develop a collaborative approach to research. And that's scary. That's scary for a lot of Black people because a lot of Black people do not want to see a collaborative research group because the fact is that collaboration, putting, two heads are better than one. I mean, that's what my mom taught me, and your grandma's told you the same thing. See? And so then this stuff is out there, this knowledge is out there. We got to go out there and get it. We got to go out there and support it. And you guys, in a sense, when you go to Jess Eve's videos, go to Eve's videos, support her videos, support her program, send her Cash App. We got to get this sister, in a sense, with the economic resources to be able to fulfill a dream. It's my dream, but I mean, thank you, Eve. Yes, it's my dream. I'm glad it's your dream too, so that you can, in a sense, get things popping. Yes, sirs. This is what it's all about. It's about love. Love is the greatest thing on the planet Earth. But most of the time, we've not been able to be able to share our love with each other because we're always hiding stuff. But today we're going to talk about ancient Northeast East Africans in the Americas. So let's get it popping. Let's see. Boom, ba ba bum. Da 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 da. Do 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 do. Da 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 da. I hope you guys. I don't have a band. I'm sorry. I don't have a band, and because I don't have a band, I have to try to make the sound effects myself. But just bear with me. Bear with me. Today we're talking about ancient Northeast Africans in America. Yes. There were many empires in the Northeast, many people that got over here and got to South America from East Africa. Many people, in a sense, they had this, in some places they had the same names for gods in Peru and Brazil, So then it's a lot of information. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's get it popping. You can join my Patreon to see the slides. After I do this presentation, I'm going to put the slides on my Patreon. So join my Patreon. It's only $5 a month. $5 a month, but this $5 goes a long way because I use my Patreon money. I use my Patreon money to buy books, articles, get stuff that's behind paywalls. I try to use that to buy things so that I can make my presentations and make my site even more inviting. And so then I do really appreciate those people who have joined my Patreon. It's only $5 a month. Join my Patreon. You can find me on Twitter at Dr. Clyde Winters 8. Right now you're on my YouTube channel. This is Clyde Winters YouTube videos on ancient history, and you can order my books on Amazon.com. Don't feel embarrassed. You can buy 1, 2, 3, buy all 40, 50, buy all of them. Buy my books and be supportive. You see, there's an interesting video on YouTube. It's called Dr. Clyde Winters, First Americans Were Black. This video, try to check it out. It's on YouTube, and this video talks about the DNA evidence that I present showing that the first Americans were black. You're going to enjoy this video. So, hey, take the time, check it out, put it in your search engine, look at this video, and I'd like you to comment on it, and you can ask me more questions down the road about that information. B1, yes, we are B1. Black. Yes, we're black first, but we're also brilliant. Many people don't know the word black, meant more than just a color or more than as we use today in a negative context. Back in the day, black was seen as a word that was very, very, premier because of the fact that most of the elites of Europe were black. You see, they only began to change their pigmentation, their color, as they began, in a sense, to import in a lot of British, not British, but a lot of mercenaries from the Caucasus Mountains, and when the Ottoman Turks took over much of North Africa, they began to bring in a lot of those Ukrainian women. And I don't know, some black people are just addicted to white thighs. And if they see a white woman, they just get all discombobulated, but wanting to have that foreign sex, that foreign vagina, has led to the downfall of many black civilizations. We had to get ourselves together, brothers. We had to stop this, and we had to, yes, a brother might have married a sister back in the day, but he might have had 3 or 4 white women on the side. And if you got 3 or 4 white women and they're having 10 babies, that's 30 babies. That's 30 mulattoes. And then when those 30 mulattoes get married to each other, you got 60, 70, 80, thousands. Do you see how North Africa that was once black is now mulatto? You see? Yes, it's mulatto. And it's mulatto because the fact is that a lot of those Moors, was trying to hop around and getting with those, Caucasian women. What is FBA? Well, I'm FBA, so I'm going to tell you. FBA is not a group. FBA is not an organization. FBA is a lineage. A lineage is lineal descent from an ancestor, ancestral pedigree. As a result, we are descendants of the Black Europeans, Africans, and Aboriginal Blacks who built these United States. Yes, yes, yes. FBA are the result of the mixture of Black Europeans, Africans, and Aboriginal Blacks who built these United States. You can order my books at Amazon.com. Sometimes you can find I make comments on Twitter, but it's at Dr. Clyde Winters 8 on Twitter. If you want to find out more about the ancient American civilizations, get my books, African Empires in Ancient America. And you have to get my book, The World History of the Black Race. The World History of the Black Race is a survey book that covers all the ancient Black civilizations that existed in the world that I know of, that I know of or I've been able to research. Every home should have the World History of the Black Race. This should be on their living room table, so that when people visit their homes, they can see, the greatness, our greatness as a people, and see how we've contribute to the rise of civilization worldwide, not just in Africa, but worldwide. Get that book, The World History of the Black Race. In the 21st century, there are many Ethiopian communities in the Western Hemisphere today. Although we believe that this is the first time that Ethiopians have been here in great numbers, it would appear that during the Arwe and Exumite empires, Semitic-speaking Ethiopians discovered South America. Yes, 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 yes. You see? You can see here you can see on the top right-hand side, you can see some coins from the ancient empire in Northeast Africa. The Ethiopians were encouraged to be adventurers. Ethiopians are known in ancient times as great sailors. The periplus of the Eritrean Sea, the periplus Maris Eritrea, is a Greek periplus, describes the trading in the Indian Ocean. In this Greek document, there is mention of ports associated with Ethiopia, including Adulis and Axum. It appears from this ancient document, Ethiopians traded with Egypt, India, and various parts along the East African coast. The Axumites controlled much of ancient India and the ports of Southeast Asia. Yes, even the ports of Southeast Asia were controlled by the Axumites when the Maluka Empire was in existence. We can hypothesize that a group of Ethiopian merchants, probably on a voyage to China, Sri Lanka, or Malaysia, or on a military campaign to put down a rebellion in one of their Indian Ocean colonies, was captured in the Equatorian countercurrent in their papyrus boats and carried all the way across the Pacific to Peru and Ecuador. The Chinese records make it clear that Axumites made many long voyages in the Pacific and Indian Ocean. These sailors made these voyages in mid-ocean, not coasting near the shore. The Axumites controlled much of Arabia, India, and parts of Southeast Asia when the Mochica Empire was in existence down in Peru. Yes, yes. When the Mochica Empire of Peru was in existence, Axumites were controlling many parts of Arabia, India, and Southeast Asia. Merchants from Axum made long voyages in the Pacific and Indian Ocean. They made long trips in mid-ocean, not coasting near the shore. These are some possible ways that, in a sense, these early East Africans may have made their way across the Pacific onto, in a sense, the west coast of America. Yes, yes, yes. Take a minute and look at that map. The Axumites probably landed in sparsely populated areas in Peru, Ecuador. In these areas, they would have met little resistance from the local Amerindian groups, who saw them as giants because of their greater height. The experience of exhumites in building underground dwellings made it possible for them to construct safe habitation complexes and later step pyramids to bury their elites, as in Meroe. The Peruvian pyramids were made of bricks. The exhumites also proudly introduced the building of papyrus boats to South America. There are many elements of Ethiopian civilization in South America. Between 1300 and AD 600, blacks from East Africa and Asia began building civilizations, yes, building civilizations in South America, especially Chile and Peru. Carlos Marquis, in Estudios Archaeológico-Etnográfica, states that, and I quote, "It is good to report that long ago the Euphoramerica was also a Negro continent." He insisted that the Chimex of Mexico, the Caracolo of the Aguas of Culara, the Arevos of the Poncillas and Matayas of Brazil, the Manabis of Quito, the Chuanas of Darien, and the Albanos of Panama were all African people. Yes, yes, yes. Here's one of the artifacts. Look at this artifact on the left-hand side. Here's one of the artifacts of one of these ancient South Americans. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You see, you can't make this stuff up. You know, a lot of people who are racist and they want to attack any ideas about blacks in America, and they always talk about the fact is that black people are talking about what they call as lookism. Lookism. Yes. When you look at this statue, what do you see? You see a black person like you, a black person like me. Yes, that's what you see. Moreover, persistent oral traditions around Lake Titicaca recall the bearded people who were exterminated by local Indians. Ecuador has provided much archaeological evidence for the presence of Ethiopians in South America. One of the greatest finds was a magnificent stone head of a male wearing a circular earring on his right ear. This head is similar to the carvings of Akhenaten. Dr. Alexander van Woudenau had identified this figure as representing the Negroid element in pre-classical Ecuador. This figure that was originally published by Alexander van Woudenau is the one that you can see in the lower right-hand part of the slide. The interesting thing is, look at that kufi hat that he's wearing. You see, and look, and then when you look on the left-hand side, look at that cap that this particular South American figure was wearing. It's very interesting, and it points back to the African origin or East African origin of these people. Jacinto Camao notes that of the skulls discovered in Ecuador, many were blacks, especially among the Mochica. In Punin, he noted that practically all the skulls were of the Africoid and Oceanic type. Those are just names of black people or Negro people, Africoid and Oceanic. In Tiahuanaca, Peru, there are numerous carvings of blacks that have been discovered. According to Lanning, and who studied much of South America in the 1930s, I quote, "There was a possible movement of Negritos from Ecuador into the Piura Valley, north of Chicama and Viu. He believes that there's a relationship between this culture and the Valdivia site, which was active from 1800 BC to AD 100. Dr. Dixon said that Valdivia was inhabited by Africoid or black people." Yes, yes, yes. Black people were everywhere. The Ethiopian explorers in America who landed in Peru, Ecuador, probably reached here originally by accident. Yet the considerable number of blacks with beards on Mochica art showed there were many of these exhumites living among the Mochicas. Here you can see here's some of the an artifact from South America. Look at the pictures of these people, especially when you look at the that mochica on the left hand side. You can clearly see that his Negroid features. You can see in a sense that he was even painted with a dark complexion, and this is something that we have to acknowledge. Yes, people are going to say, you black people in this lookism, but it's not just a lookism. I've already discussed, I think, some of in a sense the archaeological evidence, because yes, you can maybe say that the paintings, well, that may be some type of mix-up. But when you look at the skeletons, and when these skeletons have went through what's called craniometric measurements, that's when physical anthropologists, study the cranium or the skull of the skeletons found in these ancient tombs. Then they're able, in a sense, to tell if that ancient inhabitant of the tomb was a Negro, a Caucasian, an Asian, even a Mongoloid Indian. But what they found is that in many of these tombs, the people they found were of Negro or African physiognomy. There are many correlates between Ethiopia and early Ecuador and Peru. In Peru, on ceramic pots, large double-deck boats are depicted, which are almost identical to the papyrus boats used in the Proto-Sahara and in Punt. On the lower deck of the boat are painted a number of water jars and other cargo, along with rows of people. On the upper deck, there stood the earthly representation of the sun god, which they called Ba, the same as the sun god of Meroe in Egypt, surrounded by birdmen who were handing the ropes to propel the ship through the water. The interesting thing about these pictures is that they're almost exact replicas of scenes depicted on the Egyptian pyramids. Today, boats made of bundles of reeds lashed together are found in Ethiopia, along the Peruvian coast, and at Lake Titicaca in South America, where tradition has it that bearded men were destroyed by the local people. Again, take a minute to look at that boat, look at the construction. And again, you can see that, we like to think of ancient man as being, especially black people, we like to think of them as being landlubbers. But, black people have never been afraid of the sea. Black people can swim too, But again, they say this lie that black people, all that we wanted to do is be landlubbers, and we weren't. You see, we built boats, we sell boats, and we swam. Yes, and we swim today. The Ethiopian explorers in America who landed in Peru, Ecuador, probably reached here originally by accident. Yet the considerable number of blacks with beards on Mochica art show there were many of these exhumites living among the Mochica. The Mochica civilization flourished in northern Peru with its capital near present-day Moche. Trujillo, Peru, from about 100 to 700 AD. The Moche are particularly noted for their elaborately painted ceramics, gold work, monumental constructions, huacas, and irrigation system. Yes, so what they did, in a sense, this is just an illustration of some of the artifacts that they left that the Mochica left. Look at those beautiful that beautiful courtway. Look at the monuments. Look at the in a sense the stone couches or whatever that they had at this particular site. I mean, it is quite interesting and also elaborate, and shows the craftsmanship, the ingenuity of these black people who were among the Moche culture. There are other possible exhumite influence in South America. The exhumites used the battle club in war. As a result, exhumite doctors became skilled in trepanning, or true cranial surgery, without killing the patient. This operation was unknown to Europeans until after Columbus discovered America, yet it was known to the Peruvians. Both the Peruvians and exhumites used false heads on mummies. You can see some of the Peruvians, and look at that big club that he carried. I mean, I guess it would knock a pretty big hole in your head. So these people remember back in the day, Back in the day when you fought, it was bone on bone. I mean, today today just about anybody can be a warrior because you get a gun, you know, AKA or get an American carbine or M16, and you can shoot behind a tree. But back in the day, you had to get bone on bone. It was yeah, they had bows and arrows, but most of the time you were fighting hand to hand. So it was some real to me it was some real fighting going on back in the day. There are other similarities between Ethiopia and Peru, Ecuador. The Ethiopians used battle clubs and war in Africa and Peru. As a result, the Exumites and Moshi doctors became skilled in trepanning. Here you can look at a skull. Look at that skull on the right hand side. You can see where they had opened up the skull and performed some sort of surgical procedure. For somebody who had maybe been injured during some sort of confrontation. So you can see that these Africans in Moshe had a very extensive knowledge of brain surgery and probably in a sense how the body functioned. They probably had to do experimentations. They probably knew what to do to make sure that they didn't maybe cause paralysis among their patients. So this is just fantastic when you think about this knowledge that these black people in ancient America had in relationship to surgery and medical procedures. You see, ancient Peruvians manufactured bricks of sun-dried clay mixed with straw, using the same formula of the Egyptians and Ethiopians. The Peruvian adobes were made in rectangular mold, just like in Ethiopia. Here's some of the examples of the bricks that they found at Huaca del Sol. And some of the bricks, as you can see, had marks on them. I don't know if these marks were meant to be interpretations. I mean, they may have in a sense phonemic and lexical value, because they do resemble the symbols used by ancient black civilizations. So those you can probably read those meanings, read those inscriptions, or they just may be marks, but I don't think they were just marks. I think that these marks were deliberately put on these bricks, and that our ancestors were leaving us messages, messages in these bricks for future generations. The Mochica and Ethiopians share many cultural traits. For example, both the Africans and South Americans built pyramids to house the dead. The East Africans also built pyramids. At Huaca de Luna, there is a step pyramid that was built by the Mochicas. Here we find the walls ornamented with frescoes, which show pottery vessels and other objects with the men drawn in attitudes stimulating war and defense. So this is look at that picture and look at that wall, and you can see examples of these black black warriors at Huanca de la Luna. These were Mochecas. At Lake Titicaca, high in the Andes, there are numerous monoliths made in human form and reed boats. These same boats were used as far as California when the Spanish arrived. The reed boats were first introduced into Peru by the Exumites of Moshe. The Moshe seldom failed to include seagoing reed boat scenes on their ceramics. These are some of the some of the monuments or clearly Negroid monoliths made by the ancient people in South America. The sculpture of the Moche show people of marked racial variation. Some types are of Africans, while others reflect Amerindian types. Dr. R. Laco Hoyle, an expert on the Moche culture, found many of the skulls were of African blacks. The Mocheca were warriors, messengers, weavers, and doctors. They built roads and organized a carrier system, which was later adopted by the Incas. Let's take a minute and look at that Moche figure. Again, look at that. Look at his helmet. Look at that shield that he carries. Very interesting. And look how he's depicted as a black figure. Von Hagen noted that looms used by the ancient Peruvians are identical with those of other civilizations with which they had allegedly absolutely no contact. In other words, a form of backstring loom was used in ancient Egypt. An horizontal loom appears in pre-dynastic Egypt, and the one pictured on the tomb at Hotep at Beni Hassan, circa 900 BC, is identical to those looms that they found in Andean and coastal Peruvian settlements. Take a minute and look at that loom on the and that picture on the left-hand side, and you can see that these looms resemble looms that were being used in Africa. Again, we see this continuity of culture, this continuity of civilization. We see, in a sense, how they were introducing these manufacturing techniques that they had used in Africa. They brought them over here to the ancient Americas. The Mochican Ethiopians share many cultural traits, you see. As an exhume, the prisoners of the Moshe armies were sacrificed to the gods, usually the moon god. According to Laco Hoyle, the Moshe practiced monotheism. Although this may have been the case, the Moshe also paid respect to a serpent and a moon god. The serpent figure was called Aniapek, the two-headed serpent. In addition to Aniapek, the Moshe worshipped good and evil. After Aniapek, the Moshe worshipped the moon god Si, or Cian, for the South American moon god. This is very interesting because the word sin for the moon god was also the name of the moon god among many exhumites. We also find Ethiopian inscriptions. The exhumites or Ethiopians have left many inscriptions in South America. For example, along the coast, we find this inscription that's written in South Semitic. Let's look at the first one. It says, "Come down into the earth and spread this. Strain and pacify the water in the area. Come and spread within this region grace. Go out among the land and becoming strong." A very interesting Ethiopian inscription is the one on the right-hand side. And moving from top of the tablet to the bottom, we read the bull, Gabati, to damage assault, the elephant, Yahat, to make clear, and the ibis, Nazednate, to confess one's sin. This tablet probably refers to the warrior creed, which may have existed among the Mochica or Huari that once ruled this area. It uses pictographs to denote the role of the soldier, because the role of the soldier was what? To make an assault, to clear the area, and then to confess your sins after you've won. So this is a very interesting inscription that they found in Peru. Then they also have the Cuenca tablet. The Cuenca tablet is very interesting. The Cuenca tablet refers to various aspects of the life of the farmer soldier and the traveler. The Ethiopic characters are involved. The same characters could be written either right or left, up or down, and retain the same meaning. The inscription found on this is an inscription found on the Tamitic tablet, which reads from right to left. On the tablet with the sun figure, which probably represented Zadbadin, or the Ethiopian sun god, and an elephant, we find reference to three things: a harp, beer, mead, and bread. These three things are associated with the Tigray, speakers of Ethiopia, with the man who is about to make a journey or go into the field. He would want to have in a sense his bread, his mead, and be able in a sense to go out and fight. And this is a tablet that they found in South America that clearly has Ethiopian characters on it. Reading the tablet from top to bottom and right to left, we have the following transliteration: Zadbadin, Ival, Began, Zebek, Tabir, sun god, elephant, began, harp, beer, tablet, tape, tabeta, beer. The translation of this inscription is as follows: Zabadan, strong as the elephant, give me the harp, beer, mead, and bread. It is interesting to note that in Tigray, the men usually drink the beer and eat unleavened bread when they go out on long journeys for nourishment. Again, just look at this inscription. Again, when you look at this inscription, you can see, that these people, as I always try to tell you, is that Black people have always been literate. A lot of times, if you go to university and these professors will teach you that Black people have an oral culture, that the only thing Black people do is have oral traditions. No, we like to write, and that's one of the reasons why you have to learn ancient languages. You have to learn ancient languages if you're going to study ancient history. See, our problem over here is that many of in a sense the foundational Black Americans who would like to study ancient history, they don't know how to speak any other language but English. You see? And the failure to be able to speak other languages limits your ability to research ancient cultures. You see? And I'm not just talking about, maybe ancient African languages. I'm talking about European languages. Just like if you're gonna study ancient Egyptian or Meroitic civilization, if you don't know how to read German, you're going to be in trouble, because many of the most important documents related to Meroitic and Egyptian history civilization are often written in German. You see, being able to read French is good too, but a lot of the documents are written in German. So it's always good that if you're going to, in a sense, try to research ancient history, what you want to do is you want to learn ancient languages. In summary, Ethiopian is probably early settled parts of South America. These Semites of the early Moshika period came from modern Ethiopia or Somalia, which served as a major staging area for the Meroitic and Exumite navies that took trade goods to nations in the Indian and Pacific Ocean. This supported by discovery of African skeletal remains in Ecuador. Yes. We have to, in a sense, acknowledge this reality. See? And reality, in a sense, is that we do have a great history, but there's nothing wrong, in a sense, with understanding that you don't have to just say that history is just us. There's nothing wrong with being a Pan-Africanist. There's nothing wrong with being, in a sense, being a person who says that I'm not Pan-African. But the point is that, people have, the world history is much more interesting than we believe. The Black man has not only been, in a sense, just isolated in Africa. The Black man has been all over the world. The Black man has spread his civilization everywhere. And this is something that we have to acknowledge. And this is something that we have to respect, and not always be afraid, in a sense, to acknowledge these realities. Let's see, what did Chemistry Black Magic said? There's an artifact I always Google called the Abitan soldier drinking beer with his Egyptian wife. Yes. Hey, how many brothers today don't speak that don't like to drink beer with their wife and their other brothers? Just like the other day, I know my sons came over to spend a little time with me, and we had a good time. And of course, they had to bring their beer, because that's just a tradition. It's a tradition of Black people to want to get together. And when brothers get together, we want to drink a little beer, talk a little ish. Yes. But again, I want to thank you guys for joining me again this Thursday for Black History Gems. Next week, I'm going to have another Black History Gems program just for you, because, see, we have to be supportive. We had to be supportive. We had to understand, you see, that that if you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. Yes, yes. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. We have to be more supportive. We have to be there to give support to each other. And we have to, in a sense, understand, that we are one people. Yes, yes, we are one people. And that we have to, in a sense, know that it's only by understanding Gagut that we can understand who and what we are. Our identity and our culture as Black foundational Americans. Yes, yes. Wars between Black Indians and whites were manufactured to produce Black slaves for whites. The English, the French, and the Dutch provided the Native Americans with guns, rum, and cheap goods to purchase Native American Indian slaves. Between 1670 and 1720, many Black Native Americans were enslaved. The Black Native Americans were sold into slavery throughout the 13 colonies, Mississippi Valley, Canada, and the British West Indies. The majority of Black Native Americans sold into slavery by whites and Indians. Slave traders were the Choctaw, the Yamasee, and other Carolina tribes. Yes, yes. Many of these tribes like the Mandi, Mandinga, many of these tribes, we lost their names. And their names have been lost to history because of the fact, in a sense, that when the European came, as he conquered these Black Indians, he just made them slaves. And so over time, in a sense, their nations disappeared. Over time, in a sense, their history wasn't recorded. Over time, they were even able to to deny that Aboriginal blacks even existed in America. They wanted to give our Aboriginal ancestors gifts. And the only problem with the gifts that they gave us was that often these blankets that they gave us carried smallpox, yes, diseases. They also, in a sense, gave us another gift, rum, fire water. And this rum caused an addiction among us. In a sense, it led to a demand for guns because it incentivized Indian slave trading. Yes, the first slaves sold in America were Indians, black Indians, selling other black Indians to Europeans to work on their cotton, not on their cotton plantations, their tobacco plantations, their rice plantations. Yes. We sold each other over here, just like in Africa, because of the fact that we failed to understand that we are one. We should be united based upon our identity and our culture as black foundational Americans. Yes. Reparations, baby, reparations. We deserve reparations. We deserve reparations like yesterday, not just today. No, not just today. We deserve our reparations. Give us our money, baby. Cut the check.
Cut the check, black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less, remain on code, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for resilience. Cut the check, black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less, remain on code, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for.
The only thing that can save you is be one, be one, be one.